When did you realize your parenting choices become someone else's nightmare? I married my husband, Drew, 5 years ago, and found out real quick that he had no idea how to do anything around the house. First week of living together, he asked me how to use the washing machine. Not which settings to use, but literally how to turn it on. He didn't know you had to put soap in the dishwasher. He thought towels cleaned themselves because they only touched clean bodies. When I asked why he never learned any of this, he said his mom Barb told him chores were a waste of his time, and he needed to focus on school, and then his career. I figured I'd just teach him, but every time I tried, Barb would call and tell me to stop overwhelming her baby. She'd say he works so hard and deserves to relax at home. Told me that as his wife, making his home life easy was literally my job. Drew would just shrug and go play video games while I did 3 loads of laundry. Every holiday we'd visit Barb and she would watch me run around her kitchen cooking and cleaning while saying "You're doing great, sweetie" from the couch where she sat with Drew watching football. If I asked Drew to help carry dishes, Barb would say let him rest. He drove all the way here. It was 4 hours once a year. I started dreading every visit because I knew I'd spend the whole time being their maid while they bonded over how hard Drew worked at his accounting job. Then Barb's landlord sold her building and she needed somewhere to stay while finding a new place. Drew volunteered our guest room without asking me. Just called from work saying his mom was moving in and I should get the room ready. Barb showed up with 6 suitcases and immediately started listing everything she needed. Breakfast ready by 8 every morning. Coffee made a specific way with exactly 2 sugars and cream heated separately. Laundry done separately from ours because of her sensitive skin. Dinner on the table by 6 every night. She handed me this list like she was checking into a hotel. I smiled and told her Drew would take care of everything since he invited her. She laughed like I'd told a joke. I didn't laugh back. That night I told Drew that since he volunteered our home without asking, he was responsible for hosting his mother. He got this panicked look and said he didn't know how to do any of that. I told him that sounds like a problem he should figure out. Then I packed a bag and went to stay with my sister. I got texts within hours. Drew asking how to make coffee, then how to work the oven, then where we kept the iron because his mom needed her blouse pressed. I read every message and responded to none. 2 days in, Barb called demanding to know why I had abandoned my household duties. I told her Drew was perfectly capable and she raised a smart man who could figure things out. She hung up on me. My sister and I went wine tasting that weekend and had the best time I'd had in years. When I came home after 7 days, the house looked like a tornado had gone through it. Dishes piled so high they spilled onto the counter. The laundry room smelled horrible because Drew put wet clothes in a basket and forgot them for 3 days. Mold growing on a shirt I actually liked. Trash hadn't been taken out once and fruit flies had moved in. Kitchen floor sticky with something I didn't want to identify. And Barb's precious sensitive skin silk blouse had a giant scorch mark because Drew didn't know you can't iron silk on high heat. Barb was furious. Not at herself for raising a man who couldn't function, at me for leaving. She told me I had humiliated her son and made him look incompetent. I told her he was incompetent because she made him that way by never letting him lift a finger his entire life. Drew tried to say it wasn't that bad, but Barb was already turning on him about the blouse. Started asking how he could possibly be so useless. How did he not know how to iron? Drew got defensive and said nobody ever taught him anything. That shut them both up quick. Barb looked at me, then at Drew, then at the disaster around her. Didn't say another word that night. She moved out 2 weeks later into her new apartment and barely calls anymore. Drew now does his own laundry and cooks twice a week. He's not great at it, but he tries and I'll take effort over nothing. Last month he called his mom to ask how long to bake chicken because he wanted to make me dinner. She didn't know. Turns out Barb's second husband did all her cooking for 20 years. I laughed about that for a week straight.